Hey up, I'm Guy Kestevan, the Tester Man, and I'm going to tell you what I reckon to the Maxxis Rekon. To be honest, I don't think any of you will be massively surprised if I tell you it's a very popular tyre. If you're lucky enough to live somewhere dry, then it's a good, fast rolling, but relatively quick clearing, very predictable tyre. To use up front, super ramped tread. You can see they've really taken those front edges off all the blocks there, but there's enough of a stagger, and then you've got these mid-sized blocks, and then quite aggressively siped side blocks there, which means they really conform well to the ground. And even in this super basic dual compound version, this is an OEM tyre off a 1400 quid Boardman as it goes, you can still see that dual compound, still a good balance of rubber, decent grip, and just fast rolling, predictable tyre on the front, like I say, in the dry, and for most of the year round on the rear, if you team it with something like a Forecaster or a Dissector on the front, if you want to stick with Maxxis. And obviously more expensive versions come with the Max Terra compound, which again, triple compound, but again, just a really good all-round compound for predictable grip. And I mean, it's not the fastest tyre in the world. There's obviously, you know, Maxxis have race options, and I'd say it's not quite, I mean, to be fair, I would say it's pretty comparable to the Wicked Will from Schwalbe, but I reckon it's significantly more grippy in terms of its kind of ability to bite in looser, softer conditions. And also I think it's got better cornering grip as well, because although again the side knobs are quite a long way down, you can see it's a much more rounded carcass. You get a really nice predictable lean in whether you're on the front or the rear. It comes in a whole bunch of sizes, 9 different 27.5s, 10 different 29s, and then there's even a 24-inch version as well. And in terms of width, it comes in 225, 2.4, 2.6 and 2.8. Although, as we've learnt with the Forecaster and a bunch of other tyres I've been talking about recently, the measured width is nowhere near the quoted width on the 2.4, so that's more or less a 2.25, 2.26. Again, it varies depending on tyre, and also I didn't really talk about it much on the Forecaster. I should have done, but a lot of the feedback from Maxxis users is they're not that consistent in terms of QC. They often wobble or warps quite easily on the tyre, so it's a bit of potluck, which is a shame on such a you know, premium brand. But overall, however, they are a good solid choice of tyre, as long as you bear in mind that you kind of need to upsize to get the right size, if you know what I mean. So if you want a 225, get a 2.4. If you want a 2.4, get a 2.6. And if you want a 2.6, get a 2.8. But prepare for that to have an effect on weight. It's already a relatively chunky tyre. 900 grams for the standard 29 by 2.4 EXO, 932 grams for the EXO Plus, which, to be honest, doesn't seem like a massive increase in weight for a much tougher carcass that also feels more damped. So I'd probably recommend, certainly for rear wheel use, always going for the EXO Plus, because the weight gain is negligible, but you get a much tougher and better damped tyre as a result. But if you're going for the 2.6s and the 2.8s, you're going a fair way over a kilo. So again, it's definitely more of a trail tyre. It might look like it's sort of an XC tyre in terms of rolling, and certainly you'd think so with the widths of it. But again, quite a chunky tyre, but that makes it pretty reliable, pretty survivable. And apart from the wonky ones, they blow up really well tubelessly too. However, there are a couple of options that kind of don't fit in line. First one, not a biggie. There is a triple compound version of the 2.6 with 120 TPI carcass. All the rest is 60 TPI, but there's one with 120 TPI, which comes in at, I think they list it as 894 grams, so sub 900 grams. So it's a 2.6 that's actually lighter than the 2.4s, which is a bit curious. And then, the one I really have to warn you about is the latest max speed one. Where's my labelling? There. So 3C again, max speed, and it only comes in a 29 by 2.25. Now the good news is that it is actually bang on that dimension. Actually slightly over a 2.26, 2.27, depending whether you measure to knob or carcass. And it's pretty light as well, so around 730 grams. I've had two, I've weighed two, and they averaged out about 730 grams. So this looks like being the lighter, faster XC version, especially as it comes in that max speed compound, the new silica-rich Maxxis faster compound as the centre of this triple compound. However, what I would also say is if you look up close, those knobs are literally half the height. Still ramped, but very, very low. And the whole knob size all the way around is just a lot smaller. And, if I'm brutally honest, that max speed is a very slippery compound. So I got a proper shock. I was expecting max speed, but I hadn't realised the knob height was so much lower, which means you got more of this slick centre with the high silicon sliding about on rocks and roots and things like that. And to be honest, there are some plus points. Like I say, it's lighter. It definitely rolls faster, but I don't think it actually rolls as fast as like pure race tyres in this category, but it's a lot skitterier. I found this was all over the place. There was a technical climb we were trying to do for about an hour, and I really, really struggled to get any adhesion on it on this tyre, just constantly spinning out, just a bit unpredictable in corners, spat out sideways a lot. And I literally went back, got it up eventually, and then literally went back the next day, went straight up it on Rick XC's in a speed grip compound, which is a significantly faster rolling tyre. And while I like the fact that, you know, it might herald a new era of Maxxis tyres that are actually the stated size, which is a good thing. I personally go for the Rekon Race. If you want a racy Rekon, perhaps unsurprisingly, I think the Rekon Race is the one to go for. Not convinced by this at all. It basically just feels like it's worn out before we've even started. And that new max speed compound, certainly if you're in a wet, greasy green area, not right impressed. But if you just stick to your standard Rekons in a Max Terra, you don't mind the hefty weight, and you bear in mind that you'll need to size up to get the size you actually want, then Maxxis Rekon, one of the better sort of dry weather front all-rounders in terms of that kind of middle ground between chunky trail and proper race tyres, and then decent on the back in a wide range of conditions as well. So, there you go. Well, that's what I reckon to the Rekon. And we've already had a whole bunch of chat about this tyre on the Forecaster review. But if you want to wade in on the comments on this one, more than welcome. Because obviously the more feedback we get from you guys, which adds to my sort of experience on it as someone who's been testing tyres for the best part of 30 years, the better all-round global review we get of which Rekons you like, how you use them, where you use them, and how that works for you. So, get busy in the comments. Always love to hear from you in there. Reply to as many as I can. Apologies if I miss you out occasionally. Click for notifications, click for subscriptions. Throw us a few quid or dollars on Patreon. That'd be splendid. Or even give us a super thanks on YouTube if you're enjoying these series of tyre reviews. Someone did suggest I do a roundup on tyres, and that will be coming shortly. I've just got a couple more to do to kind of complete this kind of roundup of sub-kilo fast trail and racier tyres. And then I'll probably split it into fast trail and then racier and just do a big roundup on all of them. But until then, thanks for your time, and let me know what you reckon to the Rekon in the comments below.